we're in a moment where folks are tired. And I have a friend of mine who has indicated that, folks are willing to risk their health to come out in a pandemic to protest what's going on.
On May 25th, 2020, a black man named George Floyd was murdered by a white police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His death, captured on camera, was a catalyst for the Black Lives Matter movement to explode across the world like never before. The movement is reaching every corner of the United States, its citizens storming the streets during the middle of the coronavirus pandemic to support the black community. In the town of Mill Valley, just north of San Francisco, the movement is rising too, but it has surfaced truths about the small town that went previously unacknowledged.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Taking these down.
Taking down that.
Taking signs down.
I'm gonna talk about a place that's got a hold on me. Mill Valley, a little place where life feels very fine and free.
Mill Valley has a deeply rooted history of racial discrimination, and by some accounts was a sundown town. Sundown towns are all-white municipalities or neighborhoods in the United States that practiced a form of segregation by excluding non-whites via some combination of discriminatory local laws, intimidation, and violence. The term originated from signs that stated people of color would have to leave by sundown. While there is no history of these physical signs posted in our town, Mill Valley is one of the thousands of these towns in the United States that has both formally and informally kept out black people. Historian James Lowen, who runs an online record of all the possible sundown towns and counties, says Mill Valley was a probable sundown town, with evidence of police or other official action and private bad behavior.
Marcus was going on 5 years old. We wanted to get a better school for him. The schools weren't that good then. They were okay. But anyway, and then in those days, if a realtor would sell a black family a house, they'd get fired on the spot. And he said, how much do you have in the bank? You couldn't get a loan either then. Blacks couldn't get a loan. So I said, we saved $2,000. I said, well, you're going to need a little more than that. And my heart sank. I said, oh no. We needed $5,400 down. He wanted $5,400 down. We only had $2,000. Do you know he lent us a second? He didn't even know us that well, but he was extremely liberal. They branded him as a communist.
One of the legal strategies used to keep Mill Valley white was incorporating racially restrictive covenants into real estate contracts, mandating that the buyers of the property could only sell that property to another white person. While these racist rules cannot be enforced anymore, they remain in the contracts for many California residences as they cannot be easily removed.
They put those restricted covenants in deeds. And so in deeds in Marin County, you will still find restricted covenants that say you cannot rent, sell to, own, even have people on your property unless they were in your employment. So these were written documents that were, quote, legal at the time. Now, the reason that's important, of course, is about the fact that it creates generational wealth, right, for white people.
These discriminatory policies and actions, along with many others, have shaped the culture of Mill Valley. Today, Mill Valley is 83.4% white and only 0.7% black. The homes no longer contract exclusion, but with a median property value of $1.24 million. Living in Mill Valley certainly isn't easily accessible.
It takes more than just saying you're not racist, you're not pro-black, reposting on Instagram a black square. You really need to seek out the information on your own to understand why things are the status quo in Marin. There's just so much they aren't telling you.
On June 1st, 2020, Mayor Sashi McEntee made this statement in regards to a question posed to the City Council about what the town of Mill Valley was doing in support of the Black Lives Matter movement after signs were torn down in support of the movement around town.
It is a council policy not that we do not take action on issues that are not of immediate local importance.
Since this meeting, McEntee has released 3 statements addressing the meeting, though a petition for recalling her mayorship has received over 8,600 signatures as of June 8th.
I saw that video, and that like really just pissed me off as somebody in our city council that has a bunch of has a huge voice isn't really willing to listen to racial issues, which is kind of frightening.
You don't see people of color, so you don't know the struggles people go through everywhere else in the United States. Was she right about saying what she said? Absolutely not. But do I know why she said it? Yes. People don't really know why there's no diversity here, and that creates the gap.
Mill Valley has shown in history that we definitely have let some things fall through the cracks in terms of kind of like racial injustice.
They claim it's very progressive and very liberal and stuff, but then why is it so segregated? Why is it so expensive? Why is there not a lot of people of color, Black people living there?
But on the situation in general, I do know that it shouldn't take multiple statements for you to say Black Lives Matter. Policy or not, the system, the very systematic racism that handicaps Black people and minorities are the very same reasons why things are the way they are in Marin and in Mill Valley.
If there's an issue that Black people are speaking about, they need to listen and not just listen, take action. Mill Valley has so many resources, so much wealth that they could really contribute a lot to the Black Lives Matter movement if they try.